Making a real song and dance of it in an hour, stars of the West End are pointless celebrities. But now goals, reaction and results on BBC One. It's Final Score with Jason Mohammad.
He was one of the heroes of the afternoon. Score is Wimbledon. John Terry's tears, we all remember those. Crucial week.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Final Score from the Premier League right through to the Scottish Premiership. Lots of breaking football stories to bring you. You'll hear about all the goals and incidents as they happen here first before a full roundup of all the day's results at 5 o'clock. A dynamic duo on Final Score this week. Garth, Crooks and Robbie Savage. They don't have capes, but they are flying this afternoon. Their thoughts on the day's big football stories in a few minutes. Let's get straight to the Barclays Premier League then and bring you right up to date. And these are the latest scores. Cardiff City 1, Newcastle United 2. Loic Remy has taken his season's tally to 5 with a couple of first-half goals for the Magpies. Peter Odemwingie has pulled one back for the Bluebirds. It's Fulham 0, Stoke City 0. Plenty of penalty shouts at either end, but still goalless at Craven Cottage. Hull City and Aston Villa both going for a third consecutive league win, currently on as even at the KC Stadium. What a story at Liverpool. They lead Crystal Palace by 3-0. Luis Suarez marking his Anfield return with a goal. Daniel Sturridge and captain Steven Gerrard have also got on the score sheet for the Reds. They're heading back to the top of the table. In the lunchtime kickoff, Manchester City came from behind to end Everton's unbeaten start of the season. Sunderland play United later on at 5:30. A quick reminder, you can keep right up to date with all the action via the BBC Sport website for live text. You can share your views using hashtag Final Score, see the latest match photos on Facebook and go behind the scenes on Instagram. So let's get more details on all those games in the Premier League. First of all, let's head to Anfield, and what a story, Ian Brown.
Yes, Liverpool most certainly going to the top of the Premier League table, 3-0 up against Crystal Palace, all the damage in the first half. And that man, Luis Suarez, was of course centre stage. He paraded with his young family before the kickoff and then scored the opening goal in the 13th minute, despite actually lying on the floor after receiving a return pass from Jose Enrique. He stumbled but still scored. Daniel Sturridge made it too shortly afterwards, leading the defender Delaney a merry dance inside the penalty area and scoring with a cross shot. A soft penalty before half-time saw Steven Gerrard score his first goal of the season. The second half, in contrast, has been quite quiet. Liverpool still 3-0 up.
Loic Remy easing the pressure on under pressure. Alan Pardew at the Cardiff City Stadium. Ian Hunt.
Yes, and at half-time, Newcastle United was sitting on a very comfortable 2-0 lead. You're thinking, well, pressure's off Alan Pardew after those back-to-back defeats. Loic Remy with the 4th and 5th goals of the season for him. Cardiff poor at both ends of the field. The second half, different story. The Bluebirds are far more potent force, more energy, more purpose to their performance, roared on by another full house. And Peter Odemwingie, having looked disinterested at times in the first period, pulling a goal back within 12 minutes of the restart after good work from Gunnarsson and Much. Cardiff, with Craig Bellamy introduced from the bench against his former club, desperately hoping for an equaliser, while Pardew desperately hopes that United can hold on. There's 14 minutes left here. It's Cardiff City 1, Newcastle United 2.
Even though Palace are 3-0 down, they've had plenty of chances, and I'm hearing there's a goal, Ian Brown.
Yes, they've actually taken one. It's Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 1. We've still got 14 minutes or so to play, so it could be interesting. It was a free kick. Campagna swerved it over from the left-hand side close to the dead ball line, and a flick header at the near post by Dwight Gale was enough to take the ball away from Steven Gerrard, who was challenging him, and beyond Mignolet in the Liverpool goal. So it's Liverpool 3, Palace 1, and it's the Palace fans you can hear at the moment.
Who's cheering at Pride Park? There's been a goal in the Championship. Ivan Gaskell.
Well, Steve McLaren is wearing a broad smile, but about 20 yards beneath me here. He and his new coaching staff here off to a bit of a dream start here at Pride Park. They were 2 up in 23 minutes through Russell and Martin. Then Leeds got a foothold in the game. Jason Pearce just before the break. It's been a little bit edgy since, but well, a lot of that tension has just dissipated. And a beautiful goal. Will Hughes, looked at by many as a real future England prospect, an under-21 player, showed real style, real composure to tuck the ball, curl it into the far corner of the net. And Derby now look to be coasting and virtually home and dry. But then that's what Ipswich thought on Tuesday.
And Derby County have won their last 9 matches against Leeds United in all competitions. More from the Championship in just a moment. Let's go back to the Premier League. Pressure building on Martin Jol. Jackie Oatley.
It's Fulham 0, Stoke City 0 with 11.5 minutes remaining. It's been a frustrating afternoon for those Fulham supporters. Remember, no home league win since the start of April, and they look like a side that's labouring under pressure. Stoke have been the better side this afternoon. They played neat passing football, and they could have had 2 penalties in the first half. One when Senderos looked to have brought down Ireland, and then Amora Bieta on Walters, a free kick instead given outside the box. But Fulham could have had one when Wilson seemed to foul Ruiz just on the stroke of half-time. But in the second half, Stoke have had the better chances. Ireland and Huth have both gone close. Bent's gone off injured for Fulham. Berbatov has. Bent has come on for him. It's Fulham 0, Stoke 0.
Jackie, thank you very much indeed. Let's take you to the KC Stadium, and it looks, Peter Slater, as if both sides missing their top strikers. Robbie Brady out for Hull City and Benteke out for Villa.
I think you could be absolutely right. This is maybe not an altogether unsurprising scoreline, goalless with 10 minutes to go. First half talking points included a Gabiak Bonahor shot tipped one-handed round a post by Hull's Alan McGregor, and Tom Huddleston's 25-yard pile driver straight at Brad Guzan in stoppage time. Hull may also point to a yellow card for Villa's Ashley Westwood, which on another day could have been red. But you're absolutely right. Benteke and Brady absent. It was always going to be a game short on chances and goals, so it's proving. Both managers have just made double substitutions, so we shall see, but I don't remain overly optimistic. 10 minutes to go, it's 0-0.
We'll bring you details and reaction from the Etihad Stadium, where Manchester City bounced back after that defeat to Bayern Munich in the Champions League in midweek by beating Everton by 3-1. But there are lots of stories to bring you in the Championship. First of all, league leaders Burnley taking on Reading at Turf Moor. Steve Wyeth.
And they are going to remain top of the Championship, Jason, because they now lead Reading by 2-0. Ings with the first in the first half. He's turned provider in the second, teeing up his strike partner Sam Vokes in on goal. He tucked it between the legs of Alex McCartney. They've now scored 19 goals between them this season. It has to be said, Reading strangely subdued, but for the brilliance of their goalkeeper, they would have taken an absolute battering. He has produced 4 remarkable saves to keep Burnley at bay during the second half, but he's finally been beaten again. Burnley 2, Reading 0.
Tony Mowbray's Middlesbrough are looking ahead to a terrific win today. They're leading Yeovil by 4-1. Let's get the latest from Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers, Barnsley. Chris Dennis.
Well, the score is Queen's Park Rangers 1, Barnsley 0, but the story is that QPR have been frustrated and foiled by Barnsley for 3/4 of this match, not least 2 world-class saves by Jack Butland towards the end of the first half, before finally Charlie Austin latched onto some wizardry from substitute Junior Hoylett in the 67th minute to sweep home his 4th league goal of the season. Barnsley's defences were finally breached. QPR then heading for a club record 8th consecutive clean sheet, but I can't help feeling that they need a second goal just to settle the fans and let them breathe more easily. 10 minutes to go, QPR 1, Barnsley 0.
More from the Championship in just a moment. Let's bring you right up to date with the top of League Two. An amazing game at the Globe Arena for Delith Lloyd. Chesterfield were 3-0 up. What's happened now?
Yeah, a really fantastic game here this afternoon. I've been treated to 6 goals. Morecambe 3, Chesterfield 3. Chesterfield, like you say, 3-0 up at the break through a brace from Owen Doyle and Gary McSheffrey, though Morecambe, came back after the restart, really piling on the pressure. Kevin Ellison pulled one back on the 46th minute. Mark Hughes then scored from close range in the 61st, and the comeback is complete as Jack Sampson netted with his left foot from close range from a free kick from the right. It's Morecambe 3, Chesterfield 3, a great advert for League Two football, Jason.
Thank you very much indeed. We heard from him on Football Focus. Garth Crooks has worked his magic on Darren Bent, Jackie Oatley.
Yes, he's inspired Darren Bent to score for Fulham with 8 minutes of the match to go. It was good work by Kasami down the left-hand side. His ball into the box, but it took a fortunate deflection. It found its way to Darren Bent, who skipped around a defender, brought it onto his left foot and rifled the ball past Begovic, who'd only made his first save of the afternoon a couple of minutes ago from Sasha Rita. And finally, the Fulham supporters have something to shout about, possibly their first home league win since April the 1st, 1-0.
OK, and at the top of the Championship, a big goal at Turf Moor. The nerves are jangling up there because Jason Shackell, own goal, has got Reading back into it. Right, good afternoon to Robbie Savage and to Garth Crooks, and you worked your magic on that man.
The relief on Martin Jol's face on the bench with his staff is just extraordinary. You see it tonight. The ball breaks on the left-hand side, and I think it's Kasami. He scoffs a shot, and it takes a deflection off Robert Huth and lands at Darren Bent's feet. And he dummies, turns inside and puts the ball in. Great composure. Great composure. And Mark Hughes, I think, will probably be upset, won't he?
So much against
the run of play.
Stoke have been absolutely fantastic. There's been a few penalty appeals for both teams. Great composure from Darren Bent. But, you know, going back to Garth's interview at dinner time with Darren Bent, he was saying we just had no luck. But that's a massive slice of luck there from Kasami's shots. Fell straight into his path. Yes, he cut inside, finished with his left foot. But Stoke, on today's evidence, have been the better team.
There's been 5 penalty appeals in this game, Jason. 5. And the referee, to be fair, I think has missed 2 of them.
Yeah.
So it's been a really interesting game in many ways. But if Fulham come through this game with 3 points, it's given Martin Jol a lifeline.
Well, Berbatov went off. You know, he had a few fouls against him. And I looked like he didn't fancy it. He went off limping, so maybe he's injured. He threw his thing down. Bent's come on, scored the goal.
A little bit of petulance. OK, right, back to the Scottish Premiership. There's a goal for Ian Turner.
At 3 o'clock this afternoon, Inverness Caledonian Thistle were top of the Scottish Premiership. The scoreline here, St Johnstone 4, Inverness 0. It has been a rout. 2 goals for Stephen McLean. He's just got his second. They add to the ones in the first half from Stevie May and Dave Mackay. St Johnstone going to get their first win in 6. Inverness off the top of the table. They trail 4-0.
Celtic are leading Motherwell by 2 goals to 0, and that means as the scores stand, they will go to the top of the table. Right, let's get details on the 12:45 kickoff at the Etihad. It finished Manchester City 3, Everton 1, watched by Steve Wilson.
Victory for Manchester City by 3-1. A really entertaining game. Joe Hart with a mixed afternoon. He'll have been disappointed with the way Lukaku beat him after 16 minutes low to his right-hand side. He got a big hand to it, but after that, Joe Hart did fine. Crucially, Negredo equalised for City just 60 seconds after Everton's opener. Sergio Aguero, who'd missed a couple, rattled home a City second.
We really need this victory because when we start the game, we were 5 points down Arsenal, so it's an important amount of points, and it was very important to continue winning here at home.
To score the first goal, which is something that they really wanted to achieve, it was very important. Then from that point on, you have to be very, very superior when the calls are not going your way, and a penalty that they went against us, and a penalty could have been for us. I thought the goals made a big difference in the performance. Even then, I thought we created good enough chances to try to get back into the game, but unfortunately, on the day, we didn't have that little bit of luck that sometimes you need.
Well, I don't think that the score of this game was for a penalty kick or not a penalty kick. I think that we scored 3 goals, that we had at least 4 or 5 clear chances to score more goals. And if I revise all the match, I don't remember that Everton really had an important chance to score another goal. So I don't think that the difference today between the 2 teams was the penalty.
The penalty that he was awarded is a disaster. It's a football disaster. I think John Moss needs to watch it again and needs to understand why he gave a penalty. Contact doesn't mean penalty. It's just trying to feel each other. You're going to get that in the box. If you're going to give a penalty for them, it's going to make the game really, really difficult.
You were very unfortunate with the penalty, and you're going to be doubly unfortunate because I think they've said it's an own goal,
sure.
Which is pretty tough.
Oh, sure. Well, that's okay. At least Aguero didn't score it then. Yeah, it happens, you know. It was a good penalty. Tried to get a hand to it, I did, and on another day it bounces out or it stays with me, so the life of a goalkeeper.
We'll get the thoughts from Robbie and Garth on Manchester City's fine win today, but there's been another goal at the Globe Arena. Delith Lloyd, what a game.
And it's gone to Morecambe, who were unbeaten and still are at the Globe Arena before this game. Morecambe 4, league leaders Chesterfield 3. Quite an astonishing game. A superb ball in from the left-hand side by Jack Sampson. Found the head of Padraig Armand, who's netted from close range with his head. A great goal. It's been free-flowing football all afternoon. 6 minutes to go here. Morecambe 4. Fascinating comeback. Chesterfield 3.
Incredible stuff. Let's go to the Championship. We have a penalty at Loftus Road. Chris Dennis.
Well, it's been a difficult afternoon for Queen's Park Rangers, but Charlie Austin, who bagged the first goal, is about to take a penalty because he was fouled, muscled off the ball, unfairly so, by Martin Craney, the Barnsley defender. Charlie Austin, who's taken his league tally to 4 goals this afternoon, with the first goal. Up he steps for a second. There it is. Comfortably so. Sends the keeper the wrong way. Salutes the crowd. Queen's Park Rangers relief all round. QPR 2, Barnsley 0.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to James Mason at the Keep Mode Stadium. Leicester City desperate for a goal there, James.
Yeah, they still trail 1-0 to Doncaster. A tense finish, though, Jason, in prospect, as both sides push for the next goal. But as it stands, they're separated by a Kasper Schmeichel own goal in the first half. A howler, a blooper, a clanger, however you wish to describe it. Sadly, it was that bad, dropping across that was put into his box. Doncaster's Ross Turnbull at the other end has been in inspired form, saving from Nugent and Knockaert. This game is far from over. It's Doncaster 1, Leicester City 0.
OK, let's talk to Robbie and Garth about Manchester City's win against Everton today. And penalties, the talking point once again, Robbie.
I think Roberto Martinez is exactly right. A football disaster. That penalty given for Manchester City was, hardly any contact whatsoever. Zabaleta's made the most of it. There was one in the first half, Nastasic on Lukaku, which was worse for me. He didn't give it. So he's made a rod for his own back. If he doesn't give the one in the first half, he can't give the one in the second half. So I think Jonathan Moss, his performance today was very poor. Also could have been a red card just before half-time for Miller. Very interesting to hear what Roy Hodgson has to think tonight Match of the Day about that.
Yep, Roy Hodgson, the England manager, is on Match of the Day this evening at 10:30. What was your view of City's performance?
I think that why Martinez uses the word football disaster is football is a contact sport. Now, as Roberto quietly says, because you've made contact doesn't mean it's a foul. And I agree totally with Roberto Martinez. In my opinion, it was nothing like a penalty. And it was compounded, as Robbie also says, the first decision or the appeal in the first half on Lukaku, when Nastasic touches him, is a much more bigger appeal, in my opinion. Looks much more like a penalty, and he refuses to give it. So he's made a rod for his own back here. And when people see it tonight, I'll be very interested to see what the boys have to say. But for me, I think Martinez has a case.
No consistency again from a Premier League referee. It's honestly at times it's embarrassing. I think some of the decisions being made this season.
All right. OK, thank you very much indeed. Let's go back around the Premier League grounds. Let's start at Anfield. Ian Brown.
Into 4 minutes of additional time, still 3-1 for Liverpool. Remember, they were 3 up at half-time, so they haven't scored in the second half while playing towards the Kop. Crystal Palace have, though, through Dwight Gale. It was Suarez, Sturridge and Gerrard with a penalty for Liverpool in that first half. Sturridge has just been substituted after coming very close to scoring a fourth for Liverpool, set up by Suarez. He hit the post. The Kop couldn't quite suck it in, but 3-1.
Fulham are on their worst run at Craven Cottage since 1966. They're hanging on, Jackie Oatley.
Very much so. There are 2 minutes of added time remaining. We've already played almost 2 of them, and some desperate defending now for Fulham in this last couple of minutes. As Stoke coming forwards down the left-hand side with the Liverpool loanee substitute Asidi, who's been a bright spark since coming on. But the fact is that Stoke haven't taken their chances. Fulham have taken the one from Darren Bent shortly after coming off the bench, and it's going to be desperate stuff now as Arnautovic strikes low wide of the left-hand post. Fulham 1, Stoke 0.
Let's take you to the Cardiff City Stadium. And how about this for a stat? Newcastle United's last 12 goals have been scored by Frenchmen. And they're easing the pressure on Alan Pardew, Ian Hunt.
They certainly are. They still lead by 2-1. We are a minute and a half into 4 minutes of added time here. It looks as if United will just go away to the northeast with a big win for Alan Pardew. Those 2 goals from Loic Remy in the first half. They might have just had a penalty when a cross from the left-hand side appeared to strike Andrew Taylor on the hand. Pardew furiously protesting to the linesman. It wasn't given, though. And Tim Krul making a good save at the other end from Jordan Much. It looks like United are going to have the 3 points. And relief for Pardew. It's Cardiff 1, Newcastle 2.
Peter Slater, I'm sorry to say this, but you're the only reporter in the Premier League without a goal.
I'm doing my best. We're into the 3rd minute of 4 of stoppage time. Hull City have a free kick, which Tom Huddleston will fire into the area. Danny Graham heads it down and it goes wide. That's been the story of the game. Few opportunities. Villa came closest towards the end of the game when Al Mahdi shot. Alan McGregor down to his right managed to stop that. Have a feeling we could be the last game on Match of the Day this evening. It's 0-0 with about a minute to go.
Middlesbrough winless in 8 matches going into today's game at Yeovil Town. Steve Sutton, great performance from Tony Mowbray's team.
Yes, indeed it is, Jason. 4-1 to Middlesbrough. Richardson, rather Kamara with the 4th goal. Yeovil almost got one back a few moments ago. Kiefer Moore sliding in on the line. Had he been defending at the other end, it would have been a brilliant clearance. Unfortunately, he was attacking. Still a clearance, but any other touch at all, it would have been 4-2. As it is, it's 4-1.
Thank you very much. It's been a feisty game of the goal sands, Hamish Marshall.
A fantastic one for the neutral. We're 3 minutes into 5 of stoppage time. Bournemouth still lead Millwall by 4 goals to 2. 4 goals in 60 minutes either side of half-time have turned this game around. Fraser, Cook, Arter and a penalty from Lewis Grabban have come back for the Bournemouth after they were 2-0 down in the first 10 minutes. Millwall had a man sent off as well. Almost over here. In fact, another penalty has been awarded for Bournemouth. They're going to have a chance to really wrap this one up in style and score 5. They currently lead 4-2.
It's all over at Pride Park. Great start for Steve McLaren, Ivan Gascoigne.
Yes, absolutely. He's gone off with a very big, broad, beaming smile. Derby were 2 up and coasting 23 minutes in here. Steve McLaren off to a dream start through Martin and Russell. Leeds' recovery was commendable. They slowly ground their way into it. Rewarded just before the break when Jason Pearce's header dug them a foothold, but they failed to press home the change of momentum. Derby continued to look more likely scorers. Finally, Will Hughes crafted a lovely curling finish. It finished off Leeds, who've now lost 10 in a row against Derby. For Steve McLaren, it capped a very happy return. 3-1, Derby won it.
So Fulham...
And a nervy finish for Pardew, but he can breathe a sigh of relief ahead of a tricky run of fixtures. There shouldn't be a need for a post-match inquest this time. It finished Cardiff City 1, Newcastle United 2.
And all over at the...
Like Tigers against the Tigers, important last-ditch tackles from Clark and Vlar. I think both managers, yes, satisfied with the point, but I'll tell you one thing, this will be the last game on Match of the Day this evening. It finished 0-0 at the KC.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Let's bring you the very latest then on what happened in the Scottish Premiership today. And it's a bad day at the office for Inverness, Ian Turner.
Indeed it was. Inverness have fallen to only their 2nd league defeat of the season. Saints led 2-0 at half-time with goals from the energetic Stevie May and Dave Mackay. And although Inverness were slightly improved after the break, it was St Johnstone and Stephen McLean who scored 2 more. Inverness have now failed to win any of the last 8 games against St Johnstone. They've lost this one 4-0.
That means that Celtic are back on the top of the Scottish Premiership, Roddy Forsyth.
Yes, by 3 points clear, and it was never really in any doubt that they would prevail here against Motherwell. It was 2nd against 3rd at the start of the day. That's, of course, changed. Although Celtic were disrupted fairly early on when a scything Keith Lasley tackle took Matthews out of the play and kept him out. He looks as though he'll be, having been stretchered off the field, that he'll be out of action for a couple of weeks, I would guess. But midway through the first half, a goalkeeping error by Lee Hollis when he failed to punch clear from a Commons cross, allowed the ball to drop to the back of the box. There was Anthony Stokes, left-footed half volley into the net, and just after half-time it was Chris Commons himself. He nutmegged Stephen McManus, ex-Celt, back at Fir Park, and dinked the ball beautifully over Hollis. It could have been more, but as it was, Celtic 2, Motherwell 0 sufficed.
Well, no doubt in the story in League 2 today, it happened at the Globe Arena. Delith Lloyd, have you got enough paper to write down the details?
Astonishing stuff, yeah. Astonishing game, Jason. Morecambe 4, Chesterfield 3, it's finished. Morecambe have defined the word comeback. 3-0 down at the break to the league leaders. They showed determination, spirit and passion to come from behind and win 4-3. Kevin Ellison set them on their way after the restart. Mark Hughes and Jack Sampson both scored well-worked goals from close range. 3-3 with 6 minutes to go. Both teams chased the winner. The home crowd then on their feet as Sampson turned provider for Podrick Armand, who headed low past the Chesterfield keeper to send Morecambe players and their fans into raptures. Morecambe boss Jim Bentley has called for more supporters to come and watch. Well, the biggest crowd in the league this season have been treated to a 7-goal thriller. Morecambe stay unbeaten at home. Chesterfield, though, are left contemplating a 2nd straight defeat. Morecambe 4, league leaders Chesterfield 3.
And in the Championship, Burnley have 2 top strikers in Sam Vokes and Danny Ings. They've won again, Steve Wyeth.
Yes, and they both scored. A fifth consecutive win for Burnley, maintains their lead at the top of the table. Danny Ings in the first half marking his England under-21 call-up with his 11th goal of the season. A whole succession of chances came and went before Ings turned provider for Vokes to wrap up the points late on in the game. There was a goal back. The unlucky Jason Shackle with the own goal, but it couldn't inspire Reading. An equaliser would have been a massive injustice. Burnley 2, Reading 1.
And they're joint top with Queen's Park Rangers, a club record 8 successive league draw. Chris Dennis.
Yes, QPR 2, Barnsley 0. Harry Redknapp said it would be a difficult afternoon, and so it proved. Frustrated by an obdurate Barnsley side, in particular Jack Butland, who made 2 world-class saves. They finally made the breakthrough on 67 minutes. Charlie Austin sweeping home from Junior Hoylott for his 4th league goal of the season. Austin added his 5th 3 minutes from time from the penalty spot after he'd been grabbed by Martin Craney. QPR extend their unbeaten run now to 10 games. It's a club record, as you say, 8 consecutive clean sheets. That's nearly 13 hours since they last conceded a goal. QPR 2, Barnsley 0.
Another clean sheet, terrific performance from Queen's Park Rangers. So we're on the Red Button and BBC Sport website until 6 o'clock tonight. Interviews for managers and players from the Premier League and reaction to all today's games. All that coming up after a full check on today's results with Mike West.
And starting with the Barclays Premier League, Cardiff City 1, Newcastle United 2, Fulham 1, Stoke City 0, Hull City 0, Aston Villa 0, Liverpool 3, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester City 3, Everton 1, Sunderland against Manchester United, an evening kick-off at 5:30. In the Sky Bet Championship, AFC Bournemouth 5, Millwall 2, Birmingham City 1, Bolton Wanderers 2, Brighton and Hove Albion against Nottingham Forest, an evening kick-off at 5:30. Burnley 2, Reading 1. Charlton Athletic 0, Blackpool 0. Derby County 3, Leeds United 1. Doncaster Rovers 1, Leicester City 0. Huddersfield Town 1, Watford 2. Middlesbrough 4, Yeovil Town 1. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Barnsley 0. And Sheffield Wednesday 1, Ipswich Town 1. The Sky Bet League 1, Brentford 0, Rotherham United 1. Colchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 3. Gillingham 3, MK Dons 2 is the latest score. Notts County 4, Crewe Alexandra 0. Oldham Athletic 1, Leyton Orient 1. Peterborough United 2, Preston North End 0. Port Vale 1, Bristol City 1. Shrewsbury Town 2, Carlisle United 2. Stevenage 0, Coventry City 1. Swindon Town 1, Tranmere Rovers 0. And Walsall 0, Bradford City 2. The Sky Bet League 2, AFC Wimbledon 0, Northampton Town 2. Bristol Rovers 1, Fleetwood Town 3 is a latest score. Bury 0, Newport County 0. Exeter City 3, Plymouth Argyle 1. Mansfield Town 1, Hartlepool United 4. Morecambe 4, Chesterfield 3. Oxford United 0, Southend United 2. Portsmouth 3, Rochdale 0. Scunthorpe United 2, Cheltenham Town 0. Torquay United 0, York City 3. And Wycombe Wanderers 1, Burton Albion 2. The Skrill Premier, Aldershot Town 0, Grimsby Town 3. Alfreton Town 3, Forest Green Rovers 2. Cambridge United 1, Hereford United 0. Chester 0, Kidderminster 0. Gateshead 2, Dartford 0. Hyde 0, Braintree Town 3. Luton Town 4, Halifax Town 3. Nuneaton Town 2, Lincoln City 2. Salisbury City 2, Wrexham 1. Southport 1, Woking 1. Tamworth 1, Macclesfield Town 0. And Welling United 1, Barnet 1. Into Scotland and the Scottish Premiership, Celtic 2, Motherwell 0. Dundee United 1, Kilmarnock 0. Hearts 0, St Mirren 2. Ross County 1, Aberdeen 0 is a latest score. And St Johnstone 4, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. The Scottish Championship, Cowdenbeath 0, Dundee 2. Dumbarton 2, Wraith Rovers 4. Falkirk 2, Queen of the South 1. Greenock Morton 0, Alloa Athletic 2 and Hamilton Academical 2, Livingston 0. The Scottish League 1, Airdrieonians 3, Brechin City 1. Forfar Athletic 4, Dunfermline 0. Stenhousemuir 1, East Fife 1. And Stranraer 3, Arbroath 2. Now the William Hill Scottish Cup second round. Albion Rovers 1, Spartans 0. Auchinleck 4, St Cuthbert Wanderers 0. Berwick Rangers 2, Peterhead 1. Brora 1, Cove Rangers 1. Buckie Thistle 0, Annan Athletic 0. Dalbeattie Star 0, Montrose 1. Devon Vale 2, Linlithgow Rose 2. Edinburgh City 4, Fraserburgh 4. Formartin United 0, Inverurie Locos 2. Gala Ferrydean 0, Clyde 3. Keith 0, Elgin City 4. Newton Stewart 0, Cooter 6. The remaining Scottish Cup results: Queen's Park 2, Preston Athletic 2. Stirling Albion 2, Whitehill 2. And Turriff United 4, Wick Academy 2. On to the Corbett Sports Welsh Premier. Airbus UK Broughton 0, the New Saints 1 is a later score. Ballatown 0, Avon Lido 0. Carmarthen Town 3, Gap Connors Quay 3. Newtown 2, Prestatyn Town 1. And Port Town 1, Rill 0. Lastly, the Danske Bank Irish Premiership, Cliftonville 0, Crusaders 2, Coleraine 2, Ards 1, Glenavon 1, Linfield 3, Glentoran 2, Dungannon Swifts 1, and finally Warrenpoint Town 2, Portadown 2.
Couple of late kickoffs to bring you up to date with. Full-time in League One, Gillingham have beaten MK Dons by 3 goals to 2. They're still playing at Bristol Rovers. They're trailing by 3 goals to 1. And in the Scottish Premiership, Ross County lead Aberdeen by 1 goal to 0. Right, let's show you how the Barclays Premier League looks this evening. Liverpool then are top of the table. Manchester City move up to 3rd after beating Everton. They drop a place to 5th. Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea all in action tomorrow. At the bottom, Sunderland play United in the 5:30 kickoff. A win would lift the Black Cats off the foot of the table ahead of Palace, who lost again today. This is the Championship. Danny Ings' 11th goal of the season keeps Burnley at the top on goal difference ahead of QPR, who beat Barnsley 2-0. Derby County move into the top half after Steve McLaren's first game in charge ended with a 3-1 win. At the bottom, Sheffield Wednesday's search for a first league win of the season continues after drawing 1-1 with Ipswich Town. Top of League One looks like this. Leyton Orient remain at the top despite losing their 100% away record at Oldham Athletic, but the O's lead is cut to just 1 point after they drew and Peterborough and Wolves both won. At the bottom, Tranmere Rovers sink to the foot of the table after defeat at Swindon Town. Stevenage drop into the relegation zone after losing at home to Coventry City. At the top of League Two, an amazing game involving Chesterfield today. They remain at the top of League Two despite throwing away a 3-goal lead against Morecambe. They lost 4-3. Fleetwood looks set to go second with that win at Bristol Rovers. At the bottom, a Friday night home defeat against Dagenham, coupled with Northampton's win at AFC Wimbledon, leaves Accrington 6 points adrift at the foot of the table. The Skrill Premier looks like this. Cambridge won again today to extend their lead at the top to 7 points. Grimsby and Braintree now lead the chasing pack after they both won. At the bottom, another defeat for Windless Hyde leaves them 6 points adrift at the bottom. Let's take a look at the Scottish Premiership. Celtic are top of the Scottish Premiership after beating Motherwell 2-0. Previous leaders Inverness thrashed by St Johnstone 4-0. And at the bottom, Hearts are further adrift at the foot after they lost a crucial relegation battle against St Mirren. So, those are your tables. Let's reflect on a good afternoon for Liverpool today. Back to the top of the table.
Yes, deservedly so. I thought Ian Holley was bold. Palace could have gone ahead early on, but Liverpool, at the end of the day, Palace had to bow to Suarez and Sturridge.
And two managers under pressure before today's kick-off, Martin Jol and Alan Pardew, both big wins.
Yeah, Martin Jol, he got the result, but not the performance. But all accounts for him is the result, because Stoke went there and should have won, in my opinion. Alan Pardew, you know, Remy's got him 2 goals. Great away win at Cardiff. Eased the pressure on the pair of them.
Does Martin Jol deserve to be in the last chance saloon?
No, and I think today he's weathered a very, very difficult storm. He's come through it. He's not out the woods completely, but he's done well today.
Garth and Robbie, thank you both very much indeed. We'll continue our look back at the day's big stories on the Red Button and BBC Sport in a few minutes. Join us if you can. If you're out off this evening, have a great one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.